According to the Insurance Institute for Highway Safety, electronic stability control could save up to 10,000 lives a year. More than enough reasons to make it standard on the 2009 Sonata.
Hey, don't tell anybody, but this podcast is starting right now while we're doing a live show over here. See Bob doing the weather? I better not interrupt him, right? Hello, I'm Robin Meade. Can you imagine what life must be like for the people who live in the neighborhood where Barack Obama lives in Chicago? It must be crazy with security around. I read a story like that out of the Chicago Sun-Times this week. Well, instead of just reading it out of the newspaper, why don't we trail along with our election ed as he takes us to Chicago, President-elect Barack Obama's hometown.
Hey Robin, get a load of this. My hair's blowing around because I'm in the Windy City to give you an all-access pass to the transfer to power. It's so exciting to be here in Chicago covering this historic transition to power for Barack Obama because, quite frankly, even though the White House is an exciting beat, it can get kind of boring waiting around for President Bush to do his daily workout, then go behind closed doors for a whole series of meetings. You're making phone calls trying to find out who did he meet with, what did they talk about. It's so much different here in Chicago. This morning it started bright and early with Barack Obama going actually for a workout, and then in a little while he's going to come to this federal building where his transition team is working to have a whole series of meetings behind closed doors with people we don't know, putting together a potential cabinet. We're going to make calls all day trying to find out who did he meet with, what were they talking about. You know, the more things change, the more they stay the same. And there's so much security around this building trying to make sure that Barack Obama and his team are well protected. I can't really take you inside there. So rather than risk being arrested, I'm going to take you to a Chicago landmark that's now become famous because it's somewhere Barack Obama goes all the time here in Chicago. And I can tell you this city is quite proud of their favorite son. So I'm in Hyde Park, Barack Obama's neighborhood in Chicago, and this is the barbershop he's been going to for 14 years. Unfortunately, for security reasons, he can't come here anymore. The barber has to go to him. But the folks inside know Barack Obama about as well as anyone, so I want to get an inside look at the next president of the United States. This is Tony, one of the barbers at the Hyde Park Hair Salon. Tony, you've been seeing President-elect Obama come in here for years. What's he like as a man?
Like one of us, like a person walking in through the door, an everyday guy.
I cut his hair about 2 hours before he went on stage. That was a very, very proud moment for me. Because this time, you know, I got him before he put the baseball cap on, and it was just the way I cut it. And for a barber, that was a very proud moment.
Barack Obama, 47 years old, will become the president-elect of the United States.
At that point, I shouted. I would, oh! And then I cried. Because I thought about the Dr. King speech. I may not get there with you, but we as the people will get to the promised land. And I wept.
That barbershop is quickly becoming a Chicago landmark, sort of like here in Millennium Park, where you've got this wonderful piece of art that they call the Cloud Gate. Actually, people around here call it the Bean because of its shape. And this being Chicago, where they have the Bulls, the Bears, they call it the Bean. But it's still not as cool as the bus.
Hey, Election Ed, thank you very much. Chicago, one of my favorite towns. I used to live there. I anchored the news there for 6 years. Then they kicked me out, really. Okay, I'm taking behind the scenes of our lovely studio. It's not, you know, this is like all the things you don't see, like the lighting director sitting back there. But behind the scenes today, we have Clark Howard. Now, if you're not familiar with him, you must not listen to the radio because he's a huge radio star. And he helps people with their financial problems. Well, he's offering to help some of you, our viewers, with their money problems. This is our podcast people watching. Say hi to the podcast people.
Hi, podcast people.
Okay, so this is Clark Howard. How are you?
Good to see you.
So I was just telling the folks that you're willing to help them with their financial problems.
Right.
What kinds of questions would be good for them to ask you? Like what kinds of situations can you help them out of?
Just about anything about people's wallets. And people have been so intense lately with the job losses, hours cut back. and the credit card debt going up and up and up. In fact, there was a story I just saw today that collection agencies are losing money now because people don't have any money to pay them.
Well, and that's the situation that people are in, because that's why the collection agency is calling them in the first place.
Exactly.
But now, no matter how much they beat them up, they still can't
They have
pay
no
them.
money. You can't squeeze blood from a turnip.
Gotcha.
So we're in a new time in America. You know, we were partying way too hard, and this is one big hangover. In fact, for most of your viewers, this is the biggest hangover they have ever read about, much less experienced.
He's going to help you with any of your questions that you have. Go to cnn.com/Robin if you want the money coach Clark Howard to help you out. Now, one of the guys shooting this podcast, Rick right here, is going to give you a behind-the-scenes tour of his own. It's an in-the-water experience at the Georgia Aquarium for wounded troops. What you got, Rick?
Hey Robin, it's Photog Rick. I'm over here at the aquarium again. They've got a great program, and I know this is very special to you. It's the Wounded Warriors program, where they get to scuba dive, some of them if they're certified, and others get to snorkel with the giants of the Georgia Aquarium. The Georgia Aquarium in Atlanta has rolled out a new program that gives wounded or disabled veterans the chance of a lifetime, snorkeling alongside a 20-foot-long whale shark. More than 24 disabled vets have participated in the Fish Wish program at the world's largest aquarium. The dive lasts 30 short minutes, but according to retired Army Specialist Scott Winkler, it's like being able-bodied again.
It is so amazing. I mean, it's like you don't have a disability, it seems like, because you're just floating around with everybody else. Everybody's equal. The fish are just swimming by. I mean, it's a total another world, and it's breathtaking.
It's beautiful down there, peaceful, and you just forget that you're in a wheelchair or anything. It's just like you're one in there, one with the fish, and it was amazing.
Both Perez and Winkler agree that this program is not only beneficial to them physically, but mentally it's a huge stress break from living life day to day in a wheelchair.
Really a heartwarming story. Rick, thank you so much. Okay, I'm going to leave you today with this thought. We had a story today about a preacher insisting that the married couples in his congregation have sex for 7 days straight. Well, that was a huge hit on the show. A preacher is challenging the married couples in his congregation to have sex every day for a week. The Texas pastor says the challenge will help couples refocus on each other instead of the outside world. Well, the opinions are mixed.
I think it's a great idea. Yeah, because I know that it brings an intimacy with the couple when you're together.
This should be happening already in your relationship. You shouldn't have to do it every day.
And yes, the pastor says that he plans to practice what he preaches. No, they did not go there. They asked the preacher.
That's right, every day. That's what he said. That is what he said. Or that we can move to Texas.
So, Bob, before we leave the podcast, I just wanted to check to see if you checked with your wife.
Yeah, we got a babysitter, thank you.
And that, my dears, is this week's podcast. Thank you, Bob. Thank you. See you on the morning show, okay? Between 6 to 10 a.m. Eastern.